The answer was Grant DeVolson Wood. And the next one is Wood created this satirical portrait of three old women sneering in front of the Washington crossing the Delaware after he was criticized for using German stained glass in a World War One memorial in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Three old hags.
It's called Daughters of Revolution. Next toss up.
Clear.
This actor played the recurring character Blizzard Man on Saturday Night Live. Along with Bill Hader and Shia LaBeouf, this actor starred in a sketch in which Say plays after a gun is fired. He also appeared as a Viking in Natalie's Rap and alongside Justin Timberlake in the three related digital shorts. A group featuring this actor released the albums Incredibad and Turtleneck and Chain, and he played Connor for real in their film Popstar. For 10 points, name this member of the Lonely Island who stars alongside Terry Crews and Melissa Fumero as Detective Jack Peralta in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Omicron Crouch.
Andy Samberg.
Samberg is correct. The bonus question. Rudolph von Neist helped create a new constitution during this period. For 10 points, name this period in Japanese history following the end of the Tokugawa shogunate. This period is named for an emperor whose reign saw a resurgence of imperial power. Captain, your answer?
Shinto.
Meiji Restoration. Meiji and the imperial government rose to power during this year-long war against Tokugawa. The Republic of Ezo emerged during this war on Hokkaido to fight the imperial forces.
The War of the Samurai.
Boshin War. During the Boshin War, the Tokugawa forces were trained by men from this country like Andrews Sazanuve and Jules Brunet. This country and Spain invaded Vietnam in the Cochina campaign a couple of years prior. Captain, your answer? Answer was France. Next toss-up. The Hamilton Rating Scale and the Beck Inventory are surveys used to diagnose this disease. Which is milder but longer lasting in dysthymia? The monoamine theory of these causes of this disease is based on the role of tryptophan in producing serotonin. Cognitive behavioral therapy was first developed to support patients with this disease, which is labeled secondary if it accompanies terminal or chronic conditions. For 10 points, name this mental disorder whose symptoms usually include loss of interest in activities, low energy, and low mood.
Omicron Blackman.
Depression.
Depression is correct. The bonus question. This character gets cornered on a rooftop water tower after a citywide police chase. For 10 points each, name this man who accidentally kills Mary Dalton in a frenzy to hide the body. This character decapitates and burns her body in the house's furnace in the novel Native Son.
Marilyn Manson.
The answer is Bigger Thomas. Native Son is a novel by this African American author who also wrote the collection Uncle Tom's Cabin. Uncle Tom's Children, sorry, not Uncle Tom's Cabin. Uncle Tom's Children.
James Baldwin.
Richard Wright. In the third section of Native Son, this communist lawyer chooses to represent Bigger in court, where he frames Bigger's actions as a product of systemic oppression of African Americans in Chicago and American society.
Martin Luther King.
Boris Max. Next toss-up. In 2019, Actually, let me keep going. Yeah. In 2019, the Maltese embassies to this country banned further graffiti on Lenin Wall in this country's capital. In this country, the bones of thousands of individuals have been used to build decorations for the Sedlik ossuary near the city of Kutna Hora. Chesky Krumlov is a historic city on the Vilta River in this country. St. Vitus Cathedral is in a large castle complex in the capital of this country. That capital also contains Frank Gehry's dancing house, Wenceslas Square, and the Charles Bridge. For 10 points, name this country with regions Moravia and Bohemia and capital Prague.
Omicron Patterson.
Istanbul.
Yeah. No.
Incorrect. Alzada. Time. The capital of Prague is located in Czech Republic. Next toss up. One character in this poem is wrenched with a woeful agony and asked, "What manner of man art thou?" That character in this poem advises his prayeth best, who loveth best, to the figure who went like one that hath been stunned, and rose a sadder and wiser man. The figures of death and life in death play a game of dice in this poem, whose title figures narrate to the wedding guests about how there was water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. After shooting an albatross with a crossbow. For 10 points, name the Samuel Taylor Coleridge about a sailor's lengthy voyage. Time. The answer was The Rime of Ancient Mariner. Henry Lane Wilson, toss-up, a U.S. ambassador to this country, is believed to have arranged the murder of its president as a part of a 1913 coup known as the 10 Tragic Days. The third article of a constitution written in this country established secular public education, while its 130th established separation of church and state, leading to the Cristero Wars. This country was led by Venustiano Carranza and Porfirio Diaz in a conflict sparked by Francisco Madera's plan of San Luis Potosi. For 10 points, what country's 1910 to 1920 revolution includes armies led by Emiliano Zapata and Pancho Villa? Odell Blackman?
Cuba.
Incorrect. Alzada? Time. The answer is Mexico. In Ovid's Fasti, this god co-rules Latium with Saturn after he has taught agriculture and he raped the nymph of a sacred wood along the Tiber. The epithet Pater was typically only given to this god, and religious rites often being invoking him, and ended with an invocation to Vesta. The gate of the Argiletium was named for this god, to whom the first verses of the Carmen Celere are devoted. The gates to Rome, the temple of this god, were closed in peace and opened during war. For 10 points, name this Roman god of beginnings, ending.
Omicron Blackman.
Mars.
Incorrect. I will continue for Alzada. God of beginnings, ending, and similar transition, who is often depicted with two faces. Time. The two-faced god is Janus. In the presence of this ion, exoids are often at the more substituted carbon through an SNI-like mechanism. Tautomers are isomers that differ only by the location of this ion. Fischer esterification is catalyzed by this ion. This ion's standard reduction potential is 0. This ion names the most commonly used type of NMR spectroscopy. A Bronsted-Lowry acid is defined by its ability to donate this ion to a base, and it is produced in addition to hydroxide through ionization of water. For 10 points, name this ion makeup of a single proton.
Omicron Blackman.
I'm sorry, say it louder.
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen is correct. The bonus question, Moving screen over. The bonus question. These structures are comprised of a small and large subunit and are made up of proteins of rRNA. For 10 points each, name these organelles found on the rough ER, the site of protein synthesis.
It's ours. We just
Ribosomes is correct. In these organisms, ribosomes are comprised of 60 S large subunit or 40 S small subunit. Your answer, Captain?
Animals.
Eukaryotes. Ribosome subunits are named after their sedimentation rates in this technique, in which cellular components are separated by spinning them really quickly.
Centrifuge.
Centrifuge is acceptable, or centrifugation. The next toss-up. In 2019, divers found a temple and a large ceremonial ship in the ruins of an ancient city sunk by soil liquefaction in this modern-day country. The ruins of Herculaneum are in this modern-day country, where people believed in a life force called a Ka and a soul called a Ba. The game of Senet was developed in this country, where mud brick mastabas were an early form of tomb. Canopic jars were used in this burial process of this modern-day country, where the Book of the Dead describes.
Omicron Crouch.
Malaysia.
I'm sorry?
Malaysia.
Malaysia is incorrect. I'll continue for Iota Zeta. Where the Book of the Dead describes the soul's journey to the afterlife. For 10 points, name this modern-day country that includes the ancient cities of Luxor, Memphis, and Giza.
That's crazy.
The answer is just one brief second. I want to make certain I'm pausing this. Pause. Iota Zeta, Brother Tolu, I see you all on mute. Are y'all intentionally on mute? Y'all good over there?
Wait, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I'll just make sure you all are still there. I know there's some tech difficulties over there. You good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, I'll continue. The answer was Egypt. Next toss-up. Robert and Helen Linden are best known for a large field of study of a community in this country, which was also the subject of a William White book arguing most of its residents had collectivist rather than individualist ethics, leading them to be the title loyal figure. The Mouth-right, the Stonewalled, Shrine Rooms, and a cultural hero who chopped down a tree containing the spirit of truth, Notgens Hall, are described in a satirical paper about society in this country. The organization manned Middletown and Body Ritual among the Nakrima. Our studies for 10 points. What country also home to anthropologists Franz Boas and Margaret Mead?
Omicron
Patterson.
Patterson.
England.
Incorrect. Iota Zeta. Time. The answer was United States. Next toss up. Turn to okay. A movement that advocated for changes to this practice was started by William Lovett, who also founded the London Working Men's Association. The Newport Rising supported that movement, which was termed Chartism. The Reform Act of 1832 transformed this practice by removing rotten boroughs, where very few people live. At the 1913 Epsom Derby, King George V's horse killed Emily Davison, who advocated for the ability to participate in this practice. Suffragists advocate for expansion of, for 10 points, what practice? Omicron Blackman.
Patterson. Blackman. Yeah.
Voting.
Voting is correct. The bonus question. In 2016 book, Gerard Hooft presents an interpretation of quantum mechanics in which it's analogized to one of these constructs. For 10 points each, identify these constructs, a discrete grid of cells which evolved from an initial state following a set of rules. Conway's Game of Life is one of these constructs.
I'm gonna go with
Your answer, Captain?
finite automaton.
Cellular automata. Conway's Game of Life and other cellular automata are capable of simulating these theoretical models of computation, which consists of a head that writes and reads instruction on an infinitely long tape.
DFA.
It's called a Turing machines. Alan Turing also names a test capable of determining whether one of these systems is distinguishable from a human. The strong form of these systems which would be able to simulate a human brain.
Turing test.
The answer for that one is artificial intelligence. Next toss-up. This religion's... Oh, and we hit time. And at the end of our game, brothers, I have 18 out of Zeta 0. Does that score check out on both sides?
Yep, sounds about right.
Out of Zeta, are you with us?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Thank you so much, Out of Zeta, for your participation. I'm so sorry about those tech difficulties. You know, maybe we'll you guys win again and represent Maryland, and come on back up here and let's do this again next year with some. And Lord's willing, we'll be in person. Jesus, let's not have to be on here and virtual anymore. Thank you to both teams for great time and great tournament. Omicron, I will text you information for Saturday to prepare you for Saturday. Out of Zeta, I have your contact information. I always enjoy sending my frat brothers in college lots of scholarship information and job opportunities for your fields. So if you all don't mind, both teams, please send me your majors and degree graduation time frames so that I can send you on in these group chats, network stuff that I get in pretty frequently. Like it happens quite a bit. I'd love to keep in touch with you, brothers. My number is always going to be the same. Please hit me up if you have questions. But I thank you both for your time, and I appreciate you both. I'll send you a text message, Omicron, on your next steps.
All
All
right,
right. Sounds good. Thank you, brother.
All right, welcome. Thank you both. Good teams, good frat brothers. I appreciate all of you all. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you to our hostess, Miss Chantel Smith. She's over here on the side. I'm so grateful for her, and we appreciate all of you all.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
Have a good night. Thank you. 06.
06, bros.
Right. 06.